In the name of God, Almighty One, who is most merciful and beneficent. We will discuss this second lecture on contribution of Muslims on educational institutions. Now we will talk about educational institutions contribution of Muslims in different era of Islamic regimes and different places, different localities. In Hijaz is called that part of Arab Peninsula where Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, Makkah, Medina are situated. That's called Hijaz. Mecca and Medina had been the most important intellectual and educational centers in the Islamic world before the establishment of Abbasid caliphs. The famous mosque of Prophet of Medina, Masjid al-Nabi, was graced by the presence of such intellectual giants, legists and divines like Hazrat Ali, Hazrat Abbas, Hazrat Jafar Sadiq, Imam Malik and Imam Hanbal and long list. Even during the glories of Abbasid Caliph, the celebrated Harun Rashid had sent his sons Amin and Mamun to Medina to obtain education in religious traditions and languages. The children of Fatima believed in the pursuit of learning and produced some of the most eminent scholars that Islam has known. From the four corners of the vast Islamic world, students flocked around in Medina in order to be enlightened by their scholarly discourses. Now we'll talk about Umayyads. In Umayyad Caliph. The Umayyads paid little attention to the development of education and advancement of learning. They were mostly occupied with the suppression of internal conflicts, the consolidation of their great empire, and the persecution of the great sons of Islam. The eminent Muslim scholars, especially those belonging to the house of Prophet, preferred to lead a secular life in Medina. During the Umayyad rule, Medina, Kufa, and Damascus were the greatest centers of Islamic education, which was mostly given in the mosques by the celebrated scholars. The short rule of Hazrat Umar bin Abdul Aziz and the intellectual pursuits of Khalid bin Yazid provided the only real educational activities during the Umayyad Caliph. Now, Abbasid. We will talk about the development of education in Abbasid reign. The Abbasid caliphs provided the most congenial atmosphere for the advancement of learning and education. In fact, the reign of Mamur Rashid, who was called the Augustus of Arab, formed the culmination of the intellectual achievement of the Muslims. He was followed by a brilliant succession of caliphs who continued his work. The Darul Hukma, in English we say House of Wisdom, founded by Mamun in 830 AD at Baghdad, was the first institution of higher learning in Islamic world. Besides being a translation bureau, this institution functioned as an academy and housed an up-to-date library as well as an observatory. The academy and observatory run by the Darul Hukma served as the training and teaching centers in various branches of sciences. The glory of Muslim education was its university system, which fed the higher learning. The Academy of Mamu at Baghdad and the Hall of Wisdom of Fatimids at Cairo were great institutions and are explained by their environment. Mamun Rashid, who was a great patron of learning and education, founded important institutions in Baghdad, Rasra, Kufa, and Bakbara. According to Maulana